As I mentioned yesterday on the during my teleconference, Kendall Hunter is doubtful for this game. His injury was not as significant as what we thought, but the likelihood of him playing is not good. Defensively, exactly what I thought after the game. Gave up too many big plays, some of them due to missed tackles. You attempt 50 or so passes and never tackle him with the ball behind the line of scrimmage is not good. Have to get more pressure on the quarterback. And we got out of our gaps a couple times. So they're all areas that we can correct. We have to continue to work hard to get pressure on the quarterback. I will say again that I think he's a very good player, and I think he's going to throw for a lot of yards. But if we had to do it all over again, our schemes wouldn't change much, just our consistency across the board in the last game. Gap responsibility on defense, tackle better, more pressure on the quarterback. Offensively, you can't turn the ball over that many times and beat another team unless you're just a lot better than them. I mean, if you're a lot better than the other team athletically, you can turn the ball over a number of times and still win. But it doesn't happen a lot in college football now with some of the parity out there. So we made more mistakes than they did, and it put us in a difficult situation. Special teams-wise, we had a lot of big plays. I did have the concern about our left side of our punt team not being up on the ball. We will correct that and then continue to move forward. Rice is a team I have to be very careful with. Offensively, their attack is similar to what we faced last week. In my opinion, they want to run the football a little bit more schemes to run the ball, but have the same spread attack. They're going to move fast, try to catch you out of gaps defensively. They have lost some players from last year. Everybody's aware of that, but I think they do a great job of coaching. I know the little bit that I've watched on the other side of the ball, and then the games that I've watched and the amount of tape I've watched from their defense, they're very sound. They're gap responsible. You don't get them out of place much. I think they're very well coached. I think they got guys that play extremely hard. They've got guys that are more athletic and play better than what people give them credit for. So there's a reason they won 10 games last year. Was it 10 games last year when you watch them on tape. So our team will have to bounce back. We'll get them over here later on this afternoon. We have common exams today, so we don't get them until 6:30 tonight. But we'll have them for 3 hours or so. Get them to bounce back. I'm sure that the players will they'll be looking forward to getting back. You know, it's always good to get back, watch the tape, correct the errors, get back on the field and practice, be around each other again. So we move forward from this point on. It's a pretty good opening speech. You guys are kind of speechless, aren't you? You wrote it. That's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And for a guy that's covered golf as long as you have, you kind of like that.
Hey, Mike, you've said coaches, fans don't get over a loss as quickly as your kids do, the players do. Do you wish it stung a little bit more? Don't you learn more when it stings a little bit more? And was it that way when you –
Stings for who, the players?
Yeah.
I think it stings. I just think the kids are resilient. I think that they overcome things. You know, it's last night at 7 o'clock at night I get a call. My 4-year-old's in the emergency room. He slashed his foot open. He's getting stitches and a whole bunch of them, and he's walking around today. He's 4 years old. He doesn't know the difference. I think our kids are the same way. It stings now. When you've won and had as much success as we had, they want to win for themselves, for the team, and for everybody. You know, that's what happens in college football now, is that there's so much going on, there's so much coverage that ultimately what should happen is the players should be responsible and play hard for each other and for the team and then try to do well. So when they look back 5-6 years from now, they say, wow, you know, we worked hard, we accomplished a lot, we learned a lot of discipline structure, and I have a college degree. It does sting. I think it does. And it hurts coaches now. I mean, don't kid yourself. But we're going to refuse to let it pull us down. We can't react the same way that a Oklahoma State fan does out there that's upset that we lost the game. I mean, we got to practice. We can't stay upset for 3 days and then try to get ready on Thursday. We have to get back to work, and it's painful to watch tape when you don't play as well as you want to.
How about as a player?
Oh, I think it is. I think that's a good question for them, you know.
Yeah, no, when you were playing.
Yeah, you know, it's hard. It's you know, it was difficult for me because we lost to the same two teams every year. And the other ones, you know, we were beaten. So it was a little different. But college football is much, much different now than it has been. But I know that losses, you know, if you can reflect, John, you were in that locker room back in the 80s when I was playing. And, you know, I was always going to talk to the media and give them both sides of it. But when you left, it wasn't any fun. You weren't going to go out and hang out with your buddies or enjoy yourself. I mean, you didn't want to be out. And I think it's like that now, but even magnified more so because everybody on campus is online. Whatever you people do to get online now, and they read about this and that and comments. And so I think it's even more difficult on a player. But this is, as I've said before, this is the world we live in. It's not going to change. I think we learn to deal with it, and I still think this is the greatest game in the world for teaching lessons of life. It's no different what we do than everybody else out there in the real world. If you miss a sale or lose a contract, you can't quit. You got to go do it again on Wednesday or Thursday, or you can't pay your rent check at the end of the month. Well, that's what these guys have to learn right now. They got to overcome what they did and get ready to play the next game. It's just that everybody watches us and knows what we do.
Can you talk a little bit about Dez? Just, you know, I know he's got games left here to play.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy he's going to leave and his God-given ability, because, again, in some of the plays he makes, you just shake your head.
Yeah, Dez has been terrific for us, and the things that Dez, the accolades that he receives is deserved. He's become a better team player for us in the last 6-7 games. Dating back to last year. He still needs to be a better team player. He needs to learn to play hard every single down. Dez exerts so much energy before we ever kick the game off that he's soaking wet. And, you know, if you ever gone to I'm asking the wrong guy, you ever gone to a horse race? And you go down in the winner's circle after a game, and a horse is just saturated. And if you've never been down there, you didn't realize that. They are just saturated in sweat. Dez is saturated before 30 minutes before the kickoff. He exerts so much energy that he has to learn to relax some. He cramps himself up. I mean, he cramped up in the first quarter against Georgia. And he's hydrated, and Rob Hunt and our medical people do a tremendous job in hydrating our players. But he's so hyped up, he needs to relax, and it affects him as the game goes on because he runs out of energy. And so, yes, he is a terrific player for us, and Dez will play this game for a long time. But we've got to get him to control himself some so he can become a better team player and play as well without the ball as he does with the ball.